Hola chicos, hoy hablamos del subjuntivo en cómo conjugarlo en el subjuntivo. Bueno. Okay, so las conjugaciones en el subjuntivo. Hopefully you've been able to kind of figure out based on the practice in the last video and the practice we've done in class how to form the subjunctive. You might have some idea. So let's see if you were right. What you do, you go to the present tense indicative yo form. Por ejemplo, with dormir, traer, empezar, let's go to the yo form. Present tense, yo is duermo, traigo, miro. Okay? Next step, you drop the o ending. So we have duerm, traig, and mir. Finally, you add the opposite ending. So for an ir verb, you would add an a, and the other ones you would add an e. So we have tú, por ejemplo, duermas, tú traigas, tú mires. AR endings switch to ER endings, and ER endings switch to AR endings. You'll notice also that when you go to the yo form, you maintain the stem change, and if it's irregular, as in traigo, you keep that irregular yo form. Now you'll see that stem changes are a little bit different when we get to the nosotros, vosotros forms. We either have no stem change or a half stem change, but we'll get into that later. Don't worry about that yet. Las terminaciones. For AR endings, the yo form changes to a, and then the rest follow a present tense ER ending. Es, a, amos, es, en. Whereas ER, IR endings follow the typical AR ending, except the yo form ends in an a. A, as, a, amos, ais, an. Miramos algunos ejemplos. Número 1. Quiero que ella visite nuestros abuelos. Here, because we know it's subjunctive, because we have two clauses, we have the subjunctive in the dependent clause, the clause that's dependent on what I want. So we know it's not necessarily going to happen. Quiero que ella visite nuestros abuelos. So the visitar, go to the yo form, visito, drop the o, visit, add the opposite ending, visite. And it means I want her to visit our grandparents. Ejemplo 2. Recomiendas que nosotros bebamos mucha agua. Again, this is a recommendation, so it doesn't mean it's going to happen. Therefore, we have subjunctive in the second dependent clause. Bebemos changes to bebamos. Bebamos mucha agua. You recommend that we drink a lot of water. Número 3. Queremos que tú estudies para el examen. So we have an AR verb, which changes endings to estudies here for our dependent clause and subjunctive verb, which means we want you to study for the test. And finally, mi madre espera que yo tenga muchos amigos, which means my mother hopes I have many friends. Again, we have that que. You'll see in all examples that we have que separating our two clauses. It's important. You need to have que, and you need to have two subjects. If you look at this last one, mi madre is the first subject, and I am the second subject. And also, look at how tenga keeps the yo form. So we have that yo tengo, we drop the o, add the opposite ending, yo tenga. Bueno. Okay, tenemos irregulares, because not all verbs in the yo present indicative end in o, such as these 5 here. Ser is soy, estar is estoy, dar is doy, ir is voy, and saber is sé. So we can't go to the yo form and drop the o ending because it doesn't end in o. Therefore, we have these 5 irregulars. Ser becomes sea, estar esté, dar de, ir vaya, saber sepa. It's very important that you remember your accents on estar and dar especially, because este with an accent on the first E means this, and without an accent, it also means this. So we just have to be careful. Make sure you include your accents in the right places. And as you know, de without an accent means of or from. So make sure you include your accents. So in written Spanish, you have the correct forms. Continuamos. La otra cosa irregular en el subjuntivo es el cargarizar. And this is irregular to maintain and preserve the sound we want. And this is just like in the preterite tense. So we're going to follow the preterite rules, meaning for car verbs, the C changes to QU. So, por ejemplo, tocar, toc, go to the yo form, drop the O. Now we have that C there. We need to change to QU. Why? Because the opposite ending is an E. And without the QU, we have tose. So we want it to keep the hard C sound, toque. Bueno, it stays QU for all forms. Toque, toques, toque, toquemos, toquéis, toquen. Gar, verbs, change to GU to keep the G sound. Por ejemplo, jugar. And the yo form would be juego. So we keep the stem change. We drop the O. Now we need to change from G to GU, jueg. And we add our ending, juegue. Juegue, juegues, juegue, juguemos, juguéis, jueguen. And sar verbs change to the C sound to keep the S sound that we want. Por ejemplo, in empezar. Again, we have a stem change. Go to the O form, drop the O, empiece. Change that Z to a C. And add the opposite ending, empiece, empieces, empiece, empecemos, empecéis, empiecen. Aquí es tu práctica. Bueno, completan las oraciones con las conjugaciones correctas y información que tiene sentido. Entonces, cada oración empieza con cuando vas de vacación, yo recomiendo que tú, entonces cada sujeto es tú, y tienes que terminar la oración. Por ejemplo, cuando vas de vacación, yo recomiendo que tú juegues con tu familia. Bueno, buena suerte.